So in this video, I'm going to show you how to draw bubble letters, or block letters rather, in 2-point perspective. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and lay my ruler down. If you notice, I do have my paper landscape. You'll be able to fit your drawing in here better, but of course if you want to turn it the other way, that's perfectly up to you. But I'm going to draw my horizon line first. Now, remember, the horizon line is the line where the sky and the ground meet. So this is the sky, this is the ground. I'm going to draw a vanishing point on either side of my horizon line. I like to use X's because it gives me a clear point of reference when I line my ruler up, but you could certainly use dots. So just like in the previous video when you drew boxes in 2-point perspective, we must start with a corner. So even though we're doing letters, we're not going to start off with our letter first being very flat like this, because that would be 1-point perspective. So we want to do this with 2 points, so we're going to start with a corner. So I want my letter to go slightly above the horizon line, and it's going to be rather big down here to below the horizon line. So I'm just doing a vertical line that's going to represent my corner. In my case, I'm going to write the word or the initials CHS. You can certainly do the same thing I am with CHS, or if you would like to do your own initials, you could do your own initials instead. So what I always like to do is I like to start from my first letter, because it's going to be the largest because it's the closest to me, and start from the top of that where that first letter is going to be, because this is the corner of the letter, and go ahead and draw a line to my vanishing point. Remember, anything that's on the right side of the corner is going to the right vanishing point. Anything on the left side of the corner is going to the left vanishing point. So I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom of my corner. And what you can notice here is I now have a triangle. So my letters CHS are going to fit within this triangle. They will automatically get smaller as they go toward the vanishing point. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start drawing my letter C within this area. So again, this is going to be a block letter style. So this is my corner. So I'm going to have the edge of my C kind of come out here like a diagonal. And I want my C pretty fat. So I'm going to make that line for the inside of it go right about here. So any vertical line is going perpendicular to toward the horizon line. Any line that is supposed to be horizontal or part of the letter that's going toward the right needs to line up with the vanishing point. So I need to line that bottom up for this C with the vanishing point. Need to do the same thing for the top. Again, my lines that are going to come down are just vertical lines. They're perpendicular to the horizon line. But my lines that are going in this direction must line up with my vanishing point. So there's my letter C going toward the vanishing point. As you see, as it's going away from me, it is getting smaller. As it's receding away, it gets smaller. And that's what we want. So we're going to go ahead and go to our H next. I'm going to leave just a little gap between my C and my H. Draw that side of my H. And I'm just going to continue down with that line. Skip a little area. And remember, things are getting smaller as they go away from me. So instead of making this part of my H, the second vertical part of my H, as wide as this part, I'm going to make it a little skinnier. so that I continue this illusion of space. So then now I'm going to do the inside of the H. Remember, that needs to go to the vanishing point. Oops. Put that in the wrong spot. And then I can come back in here and erase where those lines cross. I could also go ahead and erase my horizon line, just so it's not quite as confusing going through my letters. And now, so there's my H as it recedes to the vanishing point. My S is going to be rather small because it's going farther away from me. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the back side of that S, and then the front side of it. This is going to be kind of a diagonal line. To get the inside of that S, remember I'm going to that vanishing point. So this line and that line and this line is all going to that vanishing point. So there is one side of my CHS. To make it three-dimensional, I now have to draw this side. But first I'm going to go ahead and erase these orthogonal lines, so all these lines that I do not need anymore. So I'm just going to clean all that up. So then now I have my CHS as it's going receding toward the vanishing point. So now I'm going to work on drawing the back side of my letters. So from each of these corners, I'm going to draw a line to the vanishing point. So remember, everything on the left side lines up with the left vanishing point. Now, I could go all the way to the vanishing point with that orthogonal line, but I know I don't want my C going all the way into infinity. So I'm actually, for the rest of mine, only going to go as far as I want my letters wide. So I'm only going to go about an inch or so from each of these corners. So once I have my corners drawn, I'm going to come in here, and I want any line that I have, like this is a diagonal, I need to make sure that this line on the opposite side is also a diagonal. This line's vertical, so I'm going to draw that vertical, and then this line is also a diagonal. So then I can erase, again, my orthogonal to draw my side of my C. Now, a lot of people think, oh, I'm done with my C, I can move on. But actually, you would see some of this interior area of the C as well. So again, it's going toward the left side. So I'm going to draw a line there. And from this other corner, again, I want to, if this is whatever line's going toward this direction, it has to go to that vanishing point. So I'm going to cut it off there. This is a vertical line. So there's the bottom of my C. Now I need to do the top of the C the same way. You notice I lined that up with that opposite vanishing point. So then now my C is three-dimensional and is in perspective. And if it helps you to see it better, go ahead and shade in those areas that are kind of like the interior of your letters. So that way you can see how it's three-dimensional. So again, I'm going to do the same thing with the H. The H doesn't have as many corners, so I don't have near as much work to do. And then I just need to, wherever it's going to cut off, draw my vertical line and erase where my horizon line is. Same thing for this other leg of the H. I'm making sure that lines up with my vanishing point. I really don't see, no, I don't see any of that part. And then lastly, my S. You're not going to see a lot of the other side of my S because it's hidden behind the other parts of the letters. And it starts to get really small there. Because my S is going so far away from me. It's pretty much right on the horizon. So then there is my S. And again, I can erase the lines inside of there. And I can shade in this back side just to give it that little bit more of a three-dimensional look. Same thing with my H. So there is my CHS and 2-point perspective.